Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Sound on Stage. I'm Greg Heilman. I'm here with Era Pogosova and Marianna Chebotaryova. Apologies. They are both with Theatre33 and involved with the play Lip Service, which I saw over in Bellevue a few months ago now. February, I think. Yeah. But they're taking Lip Service on the road, bringing it to Seattle Center and the Theatre Puget Sound Black Box for 2 nights, June 8th and 9th, coming up. And I wanted to get them on here and go a little bit behind the curtain and talk about how they came upon the show, how the reception was in Bellevue, and moving it to the space in Seattle Center. So first of all, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking some time.
Thank you for having us.
So I will toss it over to you, I guess, Marianna. So Lip Service, it's interesting. I'd never heard of this, but I've heard of War Paint. That was the musical on Broadway. This is similar, but it's a different viewpoint than that one. That was mostly the rivalry between Helena Rubinstein and Elizabeth Arden. This is more focused on Helena and her relationships, her family, and things like that. How did you discover the show and decide to put it up there in Bellevue?
So it was almost incidental. Actually, there are not a lot of plays that's featuring like strong woman, female character. So I was actually looking for the play in Russian. At the start of the project, it was pre-COVID time, and I had an actress, and she was willing to do something like when she's gonna shine on stage. So we found it in translation in Russian, and we started rehearsals. But then COVID
Changed everything.
changed everything. So plans for this actress has been changed. She decided to move out of the country, actually. But another actor, the male character, he was well into the process. So I asked Max, do you want to do it in English? Because this is the language of the play. And I asked Era, do you want to help with this play? And she agreed. She was excited and willing to do. And then actually in English, it was much better. We found 2 versions, and I knew nothing about the musical at this time. After that, I started to research, and actually, I knew nothing about personal life of Helena Rubinstein, and I was just fascinated of this character, of this woman, of the strengths, of the humor. So I really enjoyed this project.
Serendipitous in a way.
Yeah, for sure. And especially for the time that she was around, strong women weren't looked upon with any favor.
Yeah.
In fact, it had to take, and you can see in the play how much strength and bravery she has. Now, Era, you play Helena Rubinstein in the show, and I said in my review, I thought this was just an amazing performance. I thought you personified everything I knew about Helena Rubinstein. What is it about her that draws you to this?
Her strength and determination. She, as the play says, she reversed the flow of evolution. She changed everything that we've known about how business was done and how cosmetic industry was viewed and how women in business were viewed. So she was quite an inspiration when I was researching for this role. So it was very humbling in a way to have the opportunity to step into her shoes for even that little bit and to read about her. There's so much about her. Sadly, there's not many recordings of her speaking, so it was hard. I wish there was more. I could only find a single interview where she spoke French.
Yeah,
but she was a very, very unique character.
Oh, for sure.
Soft and harsh at the same time.
Yeah.
And we actually, we talked a lot, of course, when we were preparing for the rehearsal process. And we decided that the center of this character is her zest for life. So she enjoyed it. She loved the life, and that's what was driving her. So, some people just do it. They
can
can
never-
stop.
never give up.
Whatever. Yeah, they just can't stop because that's what's driving
The
her.
kind of people that can never retire because they always have
Yes.
to keep working.
Yeah.
Sure.
She came to her office till the last days.
Now, you mentioned there's very few recordings of her voice, but I believe in the play you've decided to use projections, especially during the scene changes, which I thought was a great way to handle those, because moving things in and out of off the stage can sometimes take a long time, and the audience can start to drift away. But how did you decide on which projections to use, and how to use those?
So I just watched a lot of them because a lot of advertising are now in public domain. So it was a long list on YouTube. Yeah. And actually I was amazed about some, because I was not born in this country and I'm only 12 years living here. And the life in 50s in America is different from the Soviet Union. So I was amazed. One advertisement, I didn't use it, but the Folgers coffee, it was so sexist. I'm so sorry, but it was. I was like, wow, how it's even possible. Yeah, and believe me, and another one of Winston cigarettes on the airplane. It was so weird. So it was funny. It was a funny process, and we just watched a lot.
I attended a comedy performance last year. It's called The Secret Comedy of Women. And it's funny you mentioned the advertisements. They would do that. They'd do scenes of, from their channel. It was really funny, but they'd show these commercials.
Uh-huh.
And the commercials of the women in the kitchen. And
Yeah.
you look at them now and it's just, you cringe.
Yeah, it's cringe.
It was a different time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we still have a long way to go. Hopefully, we've progressed a little bit. So, moving to this new space, the Black Box in Seattle Center Theatre Puget Sound. What changes do you have to make? Are you getting rehearsal time to?
There is not a lot of changes except the ceiling heights. So we're just switching from the projection on a big screen to projection on 2 TV sets. So,
Okay.
so it's going to be like 2 TVs. And that's pretty much it.
Again, we're very adaptable.
Yeah.
So we toured the space yesterday just to see where everything is. So all the very quick costume changes happen on the 2 wings, and we'll fly with it.
It's a good space. So
Yeah.
no problem.
And I hope you're bringing that you have that one set piece that it's like origami.
Yeah. We will.
That's all her.
Yeah.
She envisions all of it.
Because it was, I was just drawing from my memory. It was a bar. It was a desk. It was
The
Three or-
airplane.
yeah, the airplane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 5 or 6 different things. It seems like, but really an ingenious way to use what you have, and again to keep set changes minimal. To keep the flow of the show
And it
going.
also helps because it has all the necessary, the sausage, the chicken, everything, the phones, extra newspaper. There's a nice little space underneath that has different compartments where we keep everything.
As you mentioned, that because the play structured it as a lot of scenes, different places. So it was a goal to make those changes as quick as possible.
It was interesting
There
reading
are a lot of them.
Reading it, I was thinking, how in the world would this all piece together? And then, boom, it does.
That's great. So if you don't mind, I'll just switch gears to Theatre33 for a second. One of the great things about Seattle that I found, that I interviewed set designer Parmita Ziai here a few weeks ago, and she talked about SETA, which is the Iranian. So there's a lot of these theater groups that are language specific or specific to a certain group of people that come from, like in your case, Russian. Can you tell me a little bit how that? The question is how did Theatre33 come about? And then I also am curious to see what your perspective is on having a group where people can be in more of a sense of community, where they have these language and things in common. How does that help them move on to other theater roles around the city?
Your turn.
So when Marianna arrived in 2011,
Yes.
The people approached her about helping them stage a little skit for one of the adventure fests, Russian-speaking adventure fests that happened in the area. And that was, it's called Drwa, and it happens once every June, at the end of June. COVID years, we sort of scrapped it. But the team was Team 33, and they loved what she's done, and they asked her to do more.
Yeah, they seem to enjoy it, and I asked them, do you want to do just theater, not just adventure festival?
It was like
And
a
they said,
5-minute skit.
yeah, they said, sure.
And so Theatre33 was born in 2013, and since then it's been gaining momentum. And as people arrive to Seattle, has a very large Russian-speaking diaspora, and so there's a lot of people who come here from different parts of the former Soviet Union, and so we have Central Asia, we have Eastern Europe. Some people from Israel speak very good Russian, so Russian seems to be the language that unifies us all. And we've been increasing in numbers, and then parents wanted the kids to learn the literature and the language through theater, because then they want to do it instead of us as parents forcing our children to learn something. My children started reading Russian in the theater. I took them to grade school, but they hated it, so I stopped. But now they participate in Russian and in English productions, and they want to learn the language, and they've read literature that they would never read anywhere else.
Oh, that's great.
So in a way, the language-specific theater offers this melting pot where you bring in American-born kids and foreign-born grandparents, parents, uncles, aunts, and it provides a very nice unifying platform to connect over something that is loved by everyone, and everybody takes away their own piece.
Yeah.
And it's been really nice for women specifically to find that connection, because a lot of the times, despite the changing times, whenever people come here, men are typically the breadwinners in the family, and women are there with the children. So they lose careers and good paying jobs in their birth countries when they move here, just because the husband has a higher chance of making better income. And so it offers a very nice network for women to connect to other women and continue to develop, maybe not in the field where they were in before, but it's more of a creative approach to self-improvement, self-development. And that unites us as well, because I think over 62% of our volunteer base are women.
Yeah, sure.
And with children, it's been really nice because we have American-born kids who recently arrived from Ukraine, and they connect very nicely.
Oh, great.
They help each other with the language. They help each other navigate the social hurdles.
It's actually very cute in rehearsal when they try to connect each other.
In both languages. It's very lovely. And it's working with kids is a special thing, just because you have this bowl of anguish and anxiety walk through the door, and then they leave.
Mostly work with teenagers.
Yes, teenagers. I should
But when you say kids, it's teenagers.
It's all relative.
So kids, to us.
And then they leave hugging and laughing and making plans for future get-togethers. It's just
great.
very lovely to see that connection that they made there. Even though they all go to different schools, we draw people from as far north as Duval and as far south as Edgewood, I think is our geographical capture base. And they're in all different school districts, all different schools, but this is, they come and see each other and they walk in and it's all laughter, and it's lovely to see. So I think the language-specific theater offers that comfort zone, if you will.
Yeah, and especially, as we say, we don't like drama in life. The drama should be on stage. So we're very kind theater, so we don't tolerate any intrigues and drama, on rivalry behind the curtains.
There's too much. Yeah, there's too much drama out there.
Yes.
In the world. Yeah.
So it's really lovely to see people to come together, and especially after February 2 years ago, when a lot of so we started community project. Can you tell about it? Because
so as the aftermath of the war in Ukraine,
Yes.
we pretty much stopped everything because we didn't know how
for a
to
couple of
position
months.
ourselves, really. Just, we are a Russian-speaking theater, but we have our patron base and our volunteer base is from all over the place. Marianna is from Ukraine. A lot of people are from Ukraine. And so we didn't know how to really digest the whole thing. And the community family play was the result of that. We staged Roni, the robber's daughter, about two feuding families and how their children found a way to coexist in the same forest, together with their families and all the other creatures, mythical creatures. And we invited anyone who wanted to participate.
It's a free open project.
Oh, great.
So we had
Any age, any
the youngest
abilities.
was 3.
Yeah, the youngest was
Who you tell her you're a fox, she says, no, I'm a bunny. No, I'm a bunny. I'll be a bunny. So, and then we're now in the 3rd year, and we have over 60 people now participating, 60, 70 people, and the youngest one is 3.5.
Okay.
And the oldest is his grandmother. So we have a multi-generational component for
that's
2nd
great.
year in a row. And those are, we rent out Maiden Bar Center just because
our
there's so many
stage is
people.
so small.
They max out our capacity. And so these projects are heartwarming. And again, there's teens and kids and grandparents and parents, and it's just one big happy family. If you will.
Yeah, and anything we can do to celebrate what we have in common versus what we don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's I can't imagine it has to be challenging. You talked about positioning yourself because it's hard to navigate how people are going to react here. That's what we're seeing that with Israel and Gaza, with Russia, Ukraine. It's an interesting rough time.
Weird times we live in. I never thought there would be anything like this again, but
No.
here we are.
No. What do they say about people who don't learn from history?
Doomed to repeat it.
Yep.
I thought we've learned.
So you mentioned the outgrowing your space. Where you are in Bellevue is a new space, right?
It is.
Yes.
Our very first black box was a 35-seater, so it is bigger than what we used to have, but we sell out every single show. So for next season, we're actually planning to increase the number of shows we do per each run so that we can capture more audience and grow our audience. Would love to expand our English-speaking audience because we speak both languages, and we're actually next year we're adding a Ukrainian language project to our slate.
Yeah.
So it's and people who want to learn will learn. People who speak will teach.
It's actually on our mission because we acknowledge the power of storytelling. So in any language, the storytelling, it's how we can connect actually with some values, with how we can see it, not just read about or hear about it, but
Or taste it.
Yeah.
Food is
Yeah.
great, but you really learn about culture
Yes.
from the stories of
Sure.
those people.
Yeah, that's how we built our theater. Actually, that's why we want to expand. That we want to bring some local culture on stage, and we want to show cultures of all the different countries who in actually like melting in our theater, also on stage. I think we can learn from each
Definitely.
culture. Yeah, something.
They become wealthier by knowing different aspects of
For
doing
sure.
similar things. It enriches life.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like traveling. It's the benefits of traveling because traveling opens your mind without having to get in a plane and go somewhere.
And here you get that.
Yeah. On the question on the Russian language shows is, do you ever do a show? Because I was talking to Parmita about this with the Iranian shows. They'll sometimes do the same show in 2 different languages, so you can go see it in English, then come back and watch their show, so you get the benefits. Almost watching a movie with subtitles versus dubbing and the differences.
It's in our plans. So actually, I have a couple of plays for this project, and I don't know if it's going to be next season or next season. But yeah, we actually, I think we would need some partners for this, so we need just to work on it. But yes, I really want, and one of the play is Maxim Gorky's classic The Mother, and I really want to bring on stage, and it's actually, it's pretty interesting play. I think we can relate, even if it was wrote like 100 years ago, but I think we can relate to it because it's again about the head of the family, and right in this play, the mother, and she's a working woman, she's a businesswoman, and she's in charge of all the it's shipping business for so it's really very interesting, and she's trying to keep her family together, and actually it cost her pretty much her life. Yeah, so I think it's pretty interesting.
I find out Russian literature through theater. I came here at 14. I didn't get to read very much of Russian literature back then, so I should know Gorky's mother, but I don't.
Yeah, so we'll be looking, I think, for partners for some community theater, or maybe not community theater, to bring it. And yeah, we would really enjoy this.
And we've done Little Place in both languages. So our Little
Yeah.
Place program is for 2 to 5 year olds, and it typically is a folk tale, either Russian or Ukrainian. And we've participated in Renton's Multicultural Festival a number of years. And we would take a story that we do in our theater in Russian, we would take it there and do it in English.
Oh, okay.
So that was really fun, and we're planning to add that into our regular repertoire, that whenever we do Little Place, there's nothing like that really for Russian-speaking kids. There's lots of theater for English-speaking kiddos. But then there are some Russian-speaking kids who are learning Russian. So hearing it in English and in Russian might be very beneficial. So that is something we're going to look at adding for next year.
Yeah, and you mentioned the culture. It's a nice way to keep the culture alive when they're not in it. They're over here, to keep them in touch with the culture from which they come. Quick question. I want to go back to lip service, since that's theoretically why we're here. So the other two cast members, I want to make sure I get these names right. We have Anastasia Pavlozova, who's Elizabeth Arden, and Max Korotky as Patrick O'Higgins, who is Helena's assistant, war veteran. And Max, he walks with a limp, walks with a cane. Tell me about their preparation, if you can recall that part of it, in getting into those characters, because they were all very good.
So since we are Russian-based, brought up theater, so it's all based on Stanislavski method. So it's we're all for Stanislavski method. And Stanislavski method, the first you need to gather a lot of information about your character. So Max and Anastasia, they saw pictures, they tried to find anything on biography of these characters, everything on the period, the historical period. And then we talked about some interesting sides of the character, but actually the methods, the ground of the methods is just to figuring out what do you want and what are you doing to achieve your goal. So, of course, we talked a lot about this.
So, what do you want here?
Yeah, that's that's always my thing. And yes, Max started limping pretty early into rehearsal because, it was funny. At one moment, he didn't remember which leg. It's the wrong leg. Maybe you need to
turn it into a comedy.
Yes. So, but then we did it, and that was an interesting process. And for Era, the challenge was eating on stage. Yeah,
it's so fun because you have to chew and talk, and it gets stuck in your throat. I almost choked on the chicken. Sausage was fun, but it smells, and then you it keeps coming up. So eating is fun to a degree, but I think a lot of it is just reading about the character. I've read every single book I could get my hands on in English. And Patrick O'Higgins' memoirs have been wonderful. It was very interesting to see the care that he took in presenting Madame the way that he did, because he really, she was a nasty woman, but she kept him somehow very much engaged and interested in what she was doing. And I think they had a very reciprocal need for each other. And you can feel that through his writing. He really cared about her, and I don't know if there were some parent issues or whatnot, but she really connected to him in a way that she couldn't connect to her own sons.
Right.
So it was very interesting that it was very valuable that there were all those pieces available to us to read about a real life character when you try to bring him on stage, just because you want to do him justice.
Yeah, and that relationship challenges with her children versus with Patrick, it comes through in the play very nicely.
And actually, the challenge of this play was that because its structure it's jumping from one year to another, and very little scenes, so it actually don't have time to progress like you have in Shakespearean plays. So you don't have to build up something. So I think it was very challenging, especially about the scene when her son is crashing his car. So there is basically no time to build up something emotionally, and it's just, so it was challenging. And as for Anastasia, actually, she built her character more in comical way, and it's because she's a figment of Helena imagination. So she could do it because they are never met.
Freedom.
That's and I remember from the first time that saw War Paint. So you have these two people that are on stage together, and they've never met. Really, you think they had to have, but
the offices were very close, but they purposefully avoided each other.
So that's why she was the most comical way, because that's how Helena might imagine her. Yeah.
Even though she was a very proper.
Yeah.
There was a scene, though. I mean, for the most part, it's kind of this what would you call it? Not a sidekick or a I'm trying to think of the right word. When you I'll go with you. You're talking about with the comic, but there is a serious moment as you get towards the end of the play when you think, wow, they're actually kind of on the same page and a little more mature with each other. But then that doesn't last too long.
It's not in their character to do that.
No.
Yeah, so it was really fun to prepare for this project. We had a lot of fun with it.
Well, it's a fun show, and it's educational. I learned some things as well about Helena Rubinstein and that I hadn't known before, and I think it's worth if you guys can get out to the Theatre Puget Sound Black Box on June 8th and 9th to see it. To get tickets, your website?
Our website, and I'm talking to Leah at TPS right now. They're having some financial trouble, so we're actually donating $5 off of each general admission ticket towards the TPS fund.
Oh, great.
To save them. So
yeah,
you'll be doing us some good, and you'll be doing them some good.
Perfect. Well, guys, thank you so much, Marianna and Era, for stopping by and chatting with me and going behind the curtain to talk about lip service and your upcoming revival. Let's call it a revival.
I like that.
At Theatre Puget Sound Black Box on June 8th and 9th. So once again, I'm Greg Heilman with Sound on Stage. We've been behind the curtain with talking about lip service. Say that 5 times fast. Era Pogosova and Marianna Chebotaryova.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay. Say all of that 5 times fast. And thank you out there again for supporting us and watching all of our videos. If you get a chance to tell a friend, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Word of mouth is the best way to get the word out there for theaters, small theaters, as well as people covering theater. So once again, I'm Greg Heilman with the Sound on Stage. Until next time, I will see you at the stage door.
Thank you.